Welcome to another Eat the Fruit production. Today we're delving into one of the oldest recorded stories of rivalry, the ancient Sumerian tale, the debate between cattle and grain. This myth reflects the foundations of civilization itself, highlighting the first steps in agriculture and husbandry and the primitive lifestyles of the gods before they shared these skills with humanity. What's especially intriguing is how the tale mirrors the story of Cain and Abel in the Bible. Both stories feature a rivalry over agricultural and pastoral contributions, each competing for divine favor. Join us as we explore this ancient narrative and see how it offers a glimpse into early Sumerian society. Chapter 1. The origins of the gods and their primitive ways. Our story begins in a time of deep antiquity, on the mountain of heaven and earth, where the chief god, An, brought the Anuna gods into existence. These gods emerged into a world devoid of the resources and comforts that we might associate with civilization. No grain had been planted, no sheep or goats roamed the land, and the art of weaving was unknown. In this early world, neither sustenance nor the tools to create it existed. Without sheep to bear lambs or goats to produce kids, the gods had no experience with the essentials of animal husbandry. They did not know the names Ezina Kusu, grain or sheep. They had no understanding of crops, nor the knowledge of clothing. They roamed with bare limbs, eating wild grass and drinking from ditches like animals. This description paints the Anuna gods as beings who, despite their power, lived with the same raw vulnerability as early humans. In a state of near nature, they survived by grazing and foraging, indicating the need for development. At this point, we see the gods almost as primitive beings themselves, embodying the untamed essence of creation. Here, we glimpse the early stages of civilization in its purest form, a world yet to be tamed or cultivated. These gods, while revered, had to learn basic survival just as humans did. Only by harnessing the power of agriculture and animal husbandry would they rise to a level of true divinity, ready to pass on these skills to the world below. Chapter 2. The creation of sheep and grain. The Anuna gods, realizing the need to evolve beyond their subsistence lifestyle, decided to bring forth the deities of sheep and grain. As the gods gathered on the holy mound, the creations were revealed to them. These divine figures, sheep and grain, were not only meant to sustain the gods, but also to act as the foundation of prosperity for the land. Upon seeing them, the gods feasted and celebrated, yet they found themselves still longing for more. In a moment of divine wisdom, Enki turned to Enlil, proposing a grand plan for humanity. Enki spoke to Enlil, saying, "Father Enlil, now that sheep and grain dwell upon the holy mound, let us send them down from this sacred place, that they may bring life and sustenance to the land below." With this decision, Enki and Enlil bestowed the gifts of sheep and grain upon humankind. Sheep was given a lush pasture to graze, while grain received fields along with the tools essential for farming, a plough, yoke, and a team to work the land. In a gesture of blessing, grain took root in the earth, her head raised proudly, shimmering in the sunlight, while sheep stood nearby, exuding charm and grace. The gods watched as sheep and grain brought wealth and sustenance to the land, filling storerooms and feeding the people. This was more than a gift of food. It was the dawn of civilization itself. The people now had the means to multiply, to build and to thrive, able to feed themselves and fill the barns of the gods. It was a divine transformation, a shift from wilderness to a world of order and abundance. Chapter 3. The debate begins. Yet with the gifts of sustenance came rivalry. As the gods drank their fill of sweet wine and enjoyed the pleasures of the banquet, sheep and grain began to quarrel. The two goddesses each claimed to be the more valuable, sparking a debate over who held greater importance in the lives of both gods and humans. Grain spoke first, proclaiming her superiority. "Sister, I am your better, I precede you in glory. I am the light of the land, bestowing strength upon warriors. When my power fills the palace, the people spread my fame to the farthest reaches of the earth." In her declaration, Grain emphasized her vital role, not only in providing sustenance, but also in symbolizing strength and stability. Her contributions supported warriors and inspired awe among the people. Her words echo the story of Cain, the biblical farmer, who too offered the fruits of his labor to gain favor. Here we see a parallel to Cain's pride in his agricultural yield. As grain seeks acknowledgement of her offerings, sheep countered, asserting her own gifts with conviction. My sister, the very splendor of kingship belongs to me. The cloth that graces the royal throne is my creation. The priests dress in my wool, and without it, even kings are not adorned. What can you bring that matches my worth? Sheep's words reflect the deep cultural value of livestock in early society. In a way that mirrors Abel's role as a shepherd, sheep shows her importance in dressing kings and sanctifying priests, providing garments that symbolize both power and purity. Chapter 4. The intensifying quarrel. As the debate continued, the goddesses each elaborated on the importance of their gifts, seeking to outdo one another. Grain highlighted the hardships of sheep's life, taunting her with reminders of the dangers lurking in the wilderness. Your shepherd is forever vigilant, guarding you from wild beasts. While you roam the plains, fearing the bandits and snakes that threaten you, I bring safety and prosperity, not to be overshadowed. Sheep reminded Grain of her own vulnerability, describing how she is harvested, ground and kneaded into bread, transformed and consumed without regard. She argued that while she clothed and protected others, Grain's life cycle was one of constant destruction and renewal. Every day you are ground into dust, reduced by the miller's tools. You too are consumed, your essence changed beyond recognition. Who then should bow to whom? Through this back and forth, the goddesses reveal their intertwined roles and shared value, each essential yet distinct. This debate highlights the core elements of Sumerian society, where both agriculture and animal husbandry provided the lifeblood of the community. Chapter 6. The verdict. At last realizing the need to resolve this escalating dispute, Enki proposed a solution to Enlil. He spoke of the complementary roles of sheep and grain, suggesting that the two goddesses should stand as sisters, united in purpose. Father Enlil let sheep and grain be as sisters, each completing the other. But of the two, let grain be honored above sheep, for her bounty sustains the land from sunrise to sunset. In the end, grain was granted the greater honor, yet sheep was not diminished. Enlil's ruling established a hierarchy, but it was one that respected both forms of sustenance. Grain was exalted, her name praised, and her gifts acknowledged. Sheep, in turn, was to bow to her, yet they remained bound together, two halves of a whole. With this resolution, the gods reaffirmed the importance of both agriculture and pastoralism. They had not only created a world for themselves, but had laid the foundation of civilization for humanity to follow. The Sumerian story of the debate between cattle and grain reminds us of the timeless struggles over value and purpose that have shaped human history. Just as Cain and Abel once vied for favor through their respective gifts, so too do sheep and grain, each vying for recognition. These ancient tales speak to the heart of civilization, reflecting the challenges and interdependencies that defined early human life. Thank you for joining us for this exploration of Sumerian mythology. We hope this story has given you a glimpse into the rich and complex world of ancient beliefs. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe for more stories from the ancient world. Until next time, this has been another Eat the Fruit production.